Good morning, everyone. Buenos dias. Bom dia. Thank you very much for being here with us today. First of all, I would like to acknowledge that we are in the Masculine Slave Week 2 Squamish people. And also, I would like to let you know, for the ones who doesn't know, that we are ExpoPlaza Latina. It's the organization that connects Latin America and Canada. And our main goal is to further entrepreneurs to understand the opportunities there are between the two regions. Why is this event important about women? Because we believe that helping women and empowering women, it will help us to actually foster more relation between the two regions. Also, I would like to acknowledge our amazing supporters for the event, which is the U.S. Consul of Vancouver, I4C Innovation, Global Affairs, and of course our amazing team of Latincouver that are helping us to put this event. Within that, I would like to start our event with our opening remarks for two great speakers that we're going to have here. I have Renee Mizaki, and she's coming from the Global Affairs Department. She has been working for the federal government over 20 years. Renee also has been posted as a director in the past for Japan and Indonesia, and she just mentioned that she was also working in the agriculture sector before. So Renee, if you don't mind, I would like to invite you to the podium. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everybody. As was mentioned, my name is Renee Umezuki. I'm the Deputy Director with the Regional Office of Global Affairs Canada here in Vancouver, and it's my great pleasure to welcome you to today's event, very timely as it's coming between last week's International Women's Day and the BC Tech Summit, so very timely. I'd like to start first by thanking our hosts, so Latincouver and ExpoPlaza Latina, as well as the BC Tech Summit, for making it possible for us to be here today and have these conversations, and for me to spend a few minutes with you. So diversification means not only diversity of markets, but also diversity in who's doing the exporting. So one key demographic that we think can really grow is that of women exporters. I think there's been a recent survey that showed that about 1/3 of all small businesses in BC are owned and run by women, but only 8% of women-owned businesses export. And that's about half the amount, the equivalent amount for men. So how do we help companies, and how do we help women entrepreneurs tap into international markets? Well, in very, very brief terms, we offer advice and we offer connections. On the advice side, we can sit with you and to try to refine and assess your international market strategy. We can provide intelligence and information on your target market. What are the regulations for your product? How do you protect your IP in that market? How do you ensure you're going to get paid? On the connection side, we can connect you directly with key contacts that you're looking for in the market, be that to buyers, distributors, or other service providers like lawyers or accountants and the like. We offer a program called BWIT. It's Business Women in Trade, shortened BWIT. And it's the only national program that offers focused and targeted products and services to help women entrepreneurs internationalize. One of the key offerings of this program is women-focused business missions. And there's a couple coming up I'd just like to mention. We've got one coming up in June to Baltimore, and that is to attend the Women's Business Enterprise National Council National Conference and Business Fair. So that's in June, Baltimore. And then later on, we're leading a business mission for women to Orlando, Florida in September of this year, to attend the Go for the Greens Business Development Conference for Women.
The program, the we were honored to introduce the Minister of Jobs, Trades and Technology, Honorable Bruce Boston, who actually took post in 2017. The minister had been focusing on a strong, sustainable economy that put people first and create jobs and opportunity to everyone, every corner in the province. I actually personally know the minister probably for the last 9 years, when we were speaking about some of the interests about the Latin community. So it was an honor for me to know and to learn that he became the minister, to see what are the new opportunities that we're going to be doing within the region as well. Minister, thank you very much for being here with us.
There are going to be a lot of insights from women innovators, both in today's sessions and during the rest of the summit. think today's discussion will be an interesting and engaging one, judging from the topics and knowing a little bit about some of the participants. It brings together an important number of key issues in emerging technology in the global economy, and I think, as the Minister responsible for technology, that this summit is a perfect venue to begin those kind of discussions. Here in British Columbia, not only do we have a thriving tech sector, but we have a robust manufacturing sector as well. Sometimes manufacturing is a little bit less fashionable to talk about, but with some of the advances in advanced manufacturing, I think people are beginning to look more seriously at the future of manufacturing and how it can be competitive in a global economy. There's obviously, the key to success is probably an overlap between technology and manufacturing. And in fact, new developments in technology help spur growth in other industries, and that includes manufacturing. So in sectors in British Columbia, there are, where that kind of work is taking place, is forestry, mining, clean technology, life science, and agri-food. So the application of these emerging technologies to manufacturing is exactly what Industry 4.0 is all about. Some of you will know that the federal government has funded a series of superclusters, and in fact all the chairs of the 5 superclusters will be here at this conference for the first time together. But one of them is an advanced manufacturing supercluster. They are, in the way that we do things in Canada, so located regionally, but they are all national centers of excellence. And the advanced manufacturing one is located in Ontario. So certainly the federal government, and we echo that concern and that support, is taking stock of the opportunities in advanced manufacturing. Well, clearly we're seeing the trends of automation and data exchange accelerate, and the application of artificial intelligence. Vancouver is, notwithstanding what you may have heard about our geographic competitors here within Canada, it's only friendly competition. We are a center for AI as well. Cloud computing and Internet of Things will transform the manufacturing process. And the role that women play in these developments is critically important. We are encouraging and supporting more women leaders, and we need to build on the incredible work that has already been done. Let me talk about one of those women leaders doing great work in British Columbia is our next speaker, Pilar Portela. I had an opportunity to meet with her last summer at her office in Trail, located in the Kootenay region of southern British Columbia. Sorry, southeast is the correct geographic description. She heads a technology sector there called I4C Innovation. Actually, physically, it's a huge facility, about 45,000 square feet. It provides a number of valuable services for its tech partners, including access to a state-of-the-art Industry 4.0 lab, where participants can test and produce their innovations. They also have access to cutting-edge technologies involved in digital fabrication, artificial intelligence, virtual reality, advanced materials, and more. It's part of a corridor of innovative tech and manufacturing ventures called Metal Tech Alley in that region of British Columbia. Companies throughout this region are leading the way in areas like advanced material science, metalwork, and industrial recycling. You will probably, if you're from British Columbia, you may have heard of Tech Cominco, the Cominco smelter. That's the genesis of this interest in metals. But these companies are, I think, would be accurately described as part of the ecosystem spin-off from the initial investment made so many years ago in the smelter. They're integrating that work with the latest innovations in cloud computing and big data, among others. And Pilar is a central figure and player in that community, showing the incredible impact female innovators are having in science and tech in BC. So I think that's the kind of thing that we want to encourage in British Columbia, regional clusters of innovation providing good jobs for people, not only here in the Lower Mainland, which is an important part of the economy, of course, but also other parts of the province as well. We want to continue to build a diverse and inclusive workforce, and so, for example, that's why our government is supporting 10 new annual scholarships for women in tech, including at least one dedicated to an Indigenous candidate, for example. But there's obviously much more to do, and I don't think I'm going to have to convince this audience that there isn't much more to do. So today's event is an excellent opportunity to share knowledge and experience both here in British Columbia and beyond our borders in Latin America. So with that, let me invite Pilar Portela to the stage. I hope you enjoy the rest of the summer.
Technology, Industry 4.0, and everything else. There's a big lineup of speakers, and I think we're all thrilled to be here and participating. So with that, where North America is not doing terribly bad, we only really represent 20% of women in general. I'm not even talking about male-dominated industries, right? This is general speaking. And the European Union, so what you see, the first number is where it's currently at. The second number, so 21%, 20% is where it will be in the next few years. And the third, which is the circle, the red is the participation overall in industries, in all industries. So that's what this is. And you can see that Latin America, we have few women, only 18%. The goal is to be at 23%. But we are only in 47% of industries. Do we even have a role of any sort in leadership, okay? As Latin women, that's a really small number. Africa is doing better. If you think about it, we are almost as the developed APAC groups. I mean, it is incredible that we're so behind in some of these things. Considering that not too many years ago, we had about 4 or 5 women in power as presidents or prime ministers of our countries. And this is the number when it comes to industry and where we lead. So that's incredibly shocking how backwards we've gone as far as Latin America says. That women's style of management is based on sharing power, inclusion, and collaboration. Okay? And I think this is critical for the next thing. Because Industry 4.0 is about collaboration and inclusion. It's about understanding so many factors and integrating them and collaborating between all of the different players to be able to be successful. That my vision is that if we women are natural collaborators and integrators, why wouldn't we be able to then move these things that we know and can do really well to the next stage? So let's document our success, let's get the feedback, let's get ready for that finish line because we will be successful. And then we will start writing our finishing part of the presentation, which will be distributing it, embracing the failures that we will have, because we will have failures, I assure you. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've done 9 companies, 3 successful. That's just to give you a story, alignment, right? And then let's start writing the next story, because it just never ends. And the fun of this, the challenge of this, is that we're always doing it and redoing it. And with that, I will leave you to continue the chapters.
We're talking about why women must lead the digital revolution. So as we get forward here, these are some thoughts to ponder, some key points that I'm going to be touching on today. The first, there's a lot of realities that we need to tackle. We need to understand where we are, and we need to understand what's coming. And that's all about making those decisions as women, as a society, and as a nation. So let's just dive right in. So this stat is more data has been created in the past 2 years than the history of the human race. So I want us to kind of sit on that and marinate on that stat for a moment. It's quite phenomenal. And we can see that in terms of the data that's been gathered and collected in terms of our manufacturing industries, healthcare, education. It's overwhelming. And I know that our colleagues at the Digital Technology Supercluster are tackling this. We need to find meaningful ways to not only gather that data, but to analyze it, visualize it, and make really impactful, informed decisions moving forward. And of course, data-driven innovation, we know, is transforming everything, and it's going to disrupt traditional business models in every sector. No sector is immune to this. And we've seen these disruptions happen already, right? We've seen little kind of cracks of it. If we think of, Uber being in the transportation industry, they don't own any fleets. If we look at Airbnb, they are in the the accommodation travel industry, and they don't own any properties. So it's that kind of, nuts that we're seeing in terms of cracking. Then robotics, right? We're seeing robotic milking machines happening in farming. So we're seeing these little tidbits, we're just seeing the early days of that. And e-commerce sites, I'm a big fan of Amazon, right? You can go online, you can get anything, and it's delivered to your home. And we're seeing that disruption really impacting a lot of these retail organizations that have been very stoic in our communities. There's a high percentage of women in fields like administration, bookkeeping, data entry. And when we talk about automation is about tackling those routine tasks, right? Just kind of a show of hands, how many people own like a Google Home or an Alexa or there's a few of you. That is automation of routine tasks, right? Getting the grocery list together, picking up the dry cleaning, regulating the temperature of your home. We're seeing little cracks of this. Now imagine that in our workforce, because it's going to happen. This whole notion of virtual assistants, this whole notion of replacing routine skills. And let's kind of unpack this notion of women of agents of change. So I've given you the, oh my gosh, doomsday. But there's so many opportunities embedded in that, in kind of those digital realities, because the abilities that women have, that we've gathered throughout our life and through our work, are highly sought after in Industry 4.0. So let's get into that a bit. We know that we are facing some of the most significant social, economic, environmental challenges of our time. Climate change, food security, water protection, aging population, childcare, poverty, all these, the digital divide. These are significant social changes. And this is where women not only lean in, we need to stand up and we need to give voice to this. Women take the biggest share of household responsibilities. We know that, no big surprise, right? Caring for others. And the social and economic issues that are facing this country are important to women, right? We tend to be more caring. Care of the greater good. We look at the whole. And with that, it's not to say that those issues aren't important to our male counterparts. I'm not saying that. But it's that women are more likely to have lived those experiences, lived the challenges of childcare, poverty, or access to education. And when women are at the table where decisions are made, we know those fundamental conversations, they change because we bring depth of understanding and concern, and in many ways, we are powerhouses.
My challenge today, it's rather difficult. I have 13 or 15 minutes, Fernanda. Already cutting my time short. Oh my God. I need to convey a little bit of this discussion from a Latin American perspective, talking about Brazil and how women are doing there, what's the Industry 4.0 is looking, and the ecosystem overall, and how we can build those bridges and do business together. The Industry 4.0 right now, it looks like this. The front end is looking good, but when you turn, the back end is not that great. There is a lot of things going on, there's a lot of talk, but the reality, at least from my point of view and my limited experience, is very different. And I'd like to share that with you. So in Brazil, we have, Brazil ranks 18th in terms of best place for women entrepreneurs. I don't know if you're all aware, but the United States and Canada ranked first and second. So 20% of our tech labor force are women. That's a government official data. And at Darwin Startups, we are an accelerator. We receive around 400 applicants every semester that want to get accelerated by us, and we invest around 10. So if we look at the whole portfolio, which is going to the sixth batch, 23% of the teams are composed by women. Now, we have some insights of what's going on, what is going wrong. But the first one is that early education and the career path has not been stimulated in Brazil enough for this kind of women leadership. Then there is not enough role models to be inspired. Like female role models in Brazil to say, well, I love this woman, I want to be like her when I grow up, and things like that. And then it goes to another point, which is voice and representation, right? As Pilar said it perfectly, we need to get this discussion. We need to open this mindset. And this is not only in Brazil, which is a macho country and anything like that, it's a global problem. We have still gender discrimination, of course, because as a lot of people said, we get pregnant, right? So people don't hire us because we get pregnant, and we might jeopardize the economic development of the company to generate the value. And of course there's a lack of confidence, but in the end, and this is a very powerful stat, we have an 80% dropout rate in the first year. So if a woman is studying tech in any different levels, after 1 year, most likely she will drop off because she felt all these symptoms. Now, the good news, and I love the good news, is that we have some amazing women in Brazil doing some amazing things.
So what is Industry 4.0? We've heard some of the original definitions, right? And we even saw this picture. It is almost like we spoke, right? It was almost like we spoke ahead. Hey, use this picture because I'm going to use it later. But we did. The beauty of Industry 4.0 is that it's the fourth industrial revolution. And if you notice in my slide, I have the R in parentheses. Because some people say it's not a revolution at all. Nobody's going to rip everything out, put in something new immediately. And then some people will say, well, for the same reasons, that's why it's a revolution. Because people in general don't rip everything out. Right? We do it over time. What else is behind Industry 4.0? Cash. Cash, right? I said I like the technology. The techie side of me likes the technology. I didn't say techie, I said geek. But the techie side of me loves the technology. And the business side of me loves the cash. Why is a company interested in Industry 4.0 anyway? There's some money behind it, right? So what else is behind Industry 4.0? Well, increasing productivity. If we think specifically about Industry 4.0 and why the Internet of Things is going to help them, it's because we're talking about increasing productivity, decreasing risk, and increasing revenue. And the idea of increasing productivity comes from these cyber systems. Now systems are talking to one another. Right? It takes a little bit of the human error out of it. Can computers make mistakes? They certainly can. Do computers make mistakes more than humans? Well, if we're honest. This is a slide. This is everything you need to know on one pager. That's how you know I work for corporate. All right? So the first thing is, what is the Internet of Things and what is Industry 4.0? We're talking about smart, connected things. Layering electronics over these things and then connecting them. The properties I just gave you, embedded electronics, software, sensors, actuators. The result, we're going to get improved efficiency and accuracy. We're going to have this digital platform stack, and we're going to get cash, economic benefits. That's a nice way of saying it. Cash, right? Examples, and the market size, and that's part of the business case. Key takeaways, why Industry 4.0, what it is, what's driving it, why we care, why corporations care, what you can do in it. This work is done, not only with my work at Corning Incorporated, but also the work that I do with a group at Georgia Tech. It's the Center for the Development and Application of the Internet of Things.
I think for this audience, being it's a female audience, knowing a little bit about me is maybe helpful to set context. So I have 2 kids, 9 and 6 years old, and I'm a runner. And I've identified myself as a runner for many years, but only the last few years have I gotten back into running. And I find it to be quite the stress relief. And we'll get a little bit later into some of the challenges being a woman in technology, and that's why I run. So Professionally, I really consider myself a hybrid. I spent the first 10 years of my career really on that top of the iceberg. It was actually it was in advertising, so full integrated communications plans with crown corporations through to nonprofits, and looking at those engagements, digital and traditional, and didn't really understand the underlying infrastructure. And then I took the deep dive and was running a development company. Software developers was the majority of the company, and learned in detail what it takes to build a piece of software. And so I live now very much in the center. I understand the top, and I value what good user experience looks like, what all those different touch points are, but I have a real understanding of what the technology takes to build those experiences and then execute the parts. And technology is about iteration. However, too often do people say, well, again, they get excited about Agile. Well, Agile is about iteration and just doing it quickly. I'm like, yeah, but you have to know you have to know the big picture, right? And so I really encourage you to think about that whole piece of the puzzle, and that Newton's third law, right? For every action, there's a reaction. We're thinking about access to seasonal services. We're driving more people online, but we have to tell them to get there, and then we have to handle them in store, right? And this is probably the most important thing. You're only as good as your data. It's not just in terms of the accuracy, the consistency, the completeness, but it'll make or break your digital transformation effort. And again, it's not sexy, it's not exciting, and most people that had the same pitch from the sales rep that told them they just needed this one tool to do it all are going to say, well, just do this, and can you roll it out by September? Well, no, let's spend the next 6 months cleaning our data up, because we're not even ready to go there. And I think it's again, that understanding of deep into the bowels of technology, of what it takes to get there. The digital transformation is fast, but especially when you're coming from a company that's been around since 1953, and you have legacy systems and data, there is just some nasty work you have to get through to kind of get to the end result.
Everything is connected to everything. Now tell me, in relation to Industry 4.0 that Karen just mentioned, that it's Internet of Things. There are some people who even say Internet of Everything. Is women's brain better wired to deal with Industry 4.0? Yeah. What do you think?
Absolutely.
Good. Message conveyed. Okay. Here is a biological study, a diffusion tensor image map. Don't ask me what diffusion tensor is. It says that men's brain is connected in each half, and women's brain are actually connected across. Okay, and if the left brain is logical thinking and right brain is intuitive thinking, and Industry 4.0 needs a combination of both, which brain is better suited to lead Industry 4.0?
Women.
Good. But my question is this nature or is this nurture? Were you born like that? Were we all born like that? Or we actually developed our brains over the years to be differently wired? Hold on to this question, we might get an answer before I finish talking. Okay? There's a statistical evidence that women, the way they change leadership is actually more suited to Industry 4.0. They lead from heart and from the hand, and that's what we need to the next revolution. So another way, whether you look at it biologically, or you look at it statistically, or you look at it from the perspective of a comedian, I personally feel that Industry 4.0 transition, transformation, evolution, revolution, whatever we call it, will be better served if actually women lead this transformation. So gender gap through the industrial revolutions, okay? It actually started off during the first revolution. And the reason it got there was because the jobs were so strenuous and it was beginning to impact the health of the woman. And in society, women had to take care of all the way from childbirth to bringing the children up. The society itself said, do not go to work because it's hazardous, it's bad quality air, it's strenuous physically, it is not good for the society. So collectively, men and women decided that it is better for men to go to work and for women to stay at home. It was a society decision back in the late 70s.
50% of women are going to be in Industry 4.0. It's a massive number, but we can do it if we start to do it, right? And this is the first thing. I run a business. I do I don't do this for another business that pays me my salary. I don't do this as a not-for-profit. I actually take time from a business where I have to make sure every one of my employees gets paid to do these things. And we can do it if we make ourselves think that we can do it and work really hard at it. So we're going to tackle it from the root, talking about what Rippy was saying, and include our children in this story. Because for those branches to be strong, we have to start right down there, right? We're going to start giving them the tools that they need in order to succeed. And these are just some ideas of how we can achieve it. There's lots of ideas, but here is supporting transboundary collaborations between our worlds, US, Canada, and Latin America. This is the key thing that brought us here. Embracing change and educating ourselves, defining projects that companies, the one like Cow Tire is doing, that take that work and take work from women and women-led companies, making top-level commitments to support women leaders. Women ourselves, we push ourselves out of our comfort zone. Say, yes, I can apply for that CEO role, and I will do it, and do it. Challenge yourselves, your organizations, and others to remove the gender bias. Invest in mentoring, communicating, and distributing it, and stop holding female leaders to higher standards than you do to men. Boy, have I worked my way up here. Let's not do that to those that are coming behind us, ourselves included. Let's not ourselves do that to others. And then all of the ideas of today. And we have a massive action plan of things that we can do to actually get there. And the future is a balanced workforce. It's all of us. It's men, women, all colors, all races, all beliefs, all of us. And it happened to be that I have the same as Rippy's too. So yes, we can do it, but together we can do it better. So let's go and do it together. All right?